So, making a man wait while you smashed the hot dude that you knew you weren't going to commit to, just hooking up with a bunch of dudes. So making the man wait while you smashed Chad after a few beers on a slow Tuesday would be like me going to McDonald's, and while everyone else is eating there paid $1 for that cheeseburger, the clerks look at me and says, "It's $1,000 for you, sir."
Means you're special.
By the way, this is an analogy. I'm not trying
You're
to
calling
fucking...
women
No,
cheeseburgers.
I tried to say the same thing earlier. Like, it's exactly my point. It's like you guys, when you say this kind of stuff, it's like, hey, I don't want to commit to you. You're just a hot guy I'm on a date with, so I'm going to have sex with you immediately. And then you meet some other guy who's a gentleman to you. You're like, wow, I see long-term potential. I'm going to make him wait. If those two dudes ever meet, if there was a place where men like that ever shared stories, like the manosphere, then they're not going to allow that behavior. They're going to be like, wait, she didn't make you wait. She let you fuck on the first date, but she's making me wait. For you guys, you think, no. You're a relationship guy. You're special. That's not how he feels, though. He doesn't feel special because you had sex with the other guy on the first date. That's why.
Didn't you say you can't tell people how they feel?
Wait,
what's that?
Didn't you say you can't tell me how to feel?
No, I'm gonna tell you how to feel. I'm telling you how the guy feels.
Exactly. How are you gonna say he feels that way? How do you know that?
A guy?
Well, guys have to put in work
Are
to
you
have
serious?
sex.
Like, that's all they sit there and comment about this all the whole time. You really think guys don't feel that way? You really think a guy who's trying to be in a relationship with you is not going to be bothered by the fact that you let a bunch of other dudes fuck on the first date while you made him wait a month? You really think that?
I mean, why are you concerned about guys?
I'm not concerned about shit.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, why would the guy be concerned about guys?
Because body count matters.
Because
to
it does. It
men.
matters to them.
Really? Because I feel like what matters is those test results. Because you can have a body count of 3 and have the most deadly
No, that's not what.
in the world.
That's not what. There's literally studies from the. There's literally studies that show, like, as women have more sexual partners before marriage, the likelihood of them being happy in a marriage decreases. But it's not.
Absolutely.
But it's not the same thing that happens for men.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing for men.
Absolutely. But when you
So it does matter. It would matter to me if you let a bunch of dudes smash on the first date,
for sure,
and you made me wait, bro.
A bunch. If you have a roster,
hold on. And you better forget if we ever bump into each other, and then I found out that you didn't make him wait, you made me wait.
You're salty that I let a guy smash, and like what? Like I don't know. If you have a roster of guys you let smash on the first date, yeah, I'd be a little salty that like I wasn't on that roster. You should just let me smash too. But it's like if it's like okay, I ran into this one guy that you let smash on the first date, and I'm the one guy that you didn't let smash on the one day. Are you really gonna be salty about that?
I think
I'm telling you, a lot of guys would.
Can I
Yes,
say something?
unequivocally, most men would. Yes, absolutely.
This is not meant to be inflammatory at all, but this is what I was talking about when I say like the chasm between men and women. Like he's trying to tell you that like men feel a certain type of way, and you're trying to say like, well, why? That doesn't make sense. It's like, well, when we talk to men, we want them to understand how we feel in certain situations. Like we need to open our ears, you know what I mean, and like listen to what they're saying.
I was just speaking from my experience. Like I
wasn't trying to like come at you or
no,
anything
absolutely,
like that.
I understand. I've been in relationships. One, I'm not gonna lie, one of my first long-term relationships was, well, not my first, my last long-term relationship, I did sleep with him on the first date, but I didn't see a relationship with him. We still were friends, and it was like, you know what, maybe we could pursue this after, but it just goes from there. I guess like it all goes off of vibe. Like I can date a guy, like I said, for 4 months and then sleep with him, and it's the worst decision of my life, or I can sleep with him the first date and it'd be a solid decision, or I can sleep with him first date and not want to pursue you after. Like
Right. My personal take on this, look, if you previously slept with, for example, 20 guys first night, then I come along and then you're going to make me wait. You want to make me wait 4 dates. Maybe you had a change of heart and that's just your standard moving forward. Again, it's your body. It's 100% your choice. I wouldn't try to like pressure a girl into it. However, we men are within our right to also view that and be like, what the fuck?
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
But how many guys sleep on the first night? Thing if it was like the roles are reversed with guys. Like guys it's so socially acceptable for guys to do whatever they want, especially in a sexual manner. Like, and it also goes back to culture, and especially like most cultures are okay with guys doing whatever. Like literally, like I'm personally Latina, and in Latina culture, guys can do whatever they want.
That's true.
And they are not scrutinized by their mothers, grandmothers, nobody. And it's like it goes back to fucking decades and centuries of just breeding masculinity, and in some cases, a lot of cases, toxic masculinity. But it's just like as soon as a woman does something that's
no
like
such thing.
No such thing as toxic masculinity?
No such thing.
There are toxic people, and those toxic people can be masculine or feminine. But when the man pulls you out of your burning building, you don't give a fuck how masculine he is. There's no two masculine men. Masculinity is masculinity. Femininity is femininity.
There is such thing as toxic masculinity.
There is no...
Disavow.
So toxic masculinity was a term created in the 1990s when psychologists were trying to study violent offenders in prison. When guys would step on each other's toes and then they would start stabbing each other, it was just a term that was used by those psychiatrists to determine a type of behavior where men would resort to extreme levels of violence for no reason. And then somehow mainstream psychology got a hold of it and became this pop term. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is just masculinity, and then there are some people who are toxic. That has nothing to do with each other. I can show you tons of people who are extremely toxic online, and some of them are masculine and some of them are feminine, but the two are mutually exclusive. The idea of toxic masculinity is to shame men for doing things that other people don't agree with. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity.
Alrighty.
Word.
So that's fine. Maybe the word might not be using the right word, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's a man's world at the end of the day. It really is. And men are socially acceptable. It's acceptable for a man to like have sex with so many women, but as soon as it's a woman doing that, it's like crazy.
Well, it does go back to biology.
Yeah. Well, because
like,
the
really
reason why that it's socially acceptable and men get so much praise for it is because it's a lot harder for a man to get laid than a woman. So when a woman can 10 out of 10 most of the time a woman will get laid 10 out of 10. A man is not going to be 10 out of 10. So a man has to work a lot harder to have sex.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they
have to work a lot harder. It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. It's okay for a man to have sex with whoever, have one night stands, do whatever.
It's not okay. I mean, the Catholic Church would say that it's not okay.
Right.
Okay,
but the Catholic Church also rapes kids. So what are we talking about here?
Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know that actually the Catholic Church does it.
That was not the words. We're gonna delete that.
I don't. The Protestant Church would have a problem with it. Okay. There's a bunch of places that would have a problem with it.
I was just bringing up one point. It wasn't like to be like, like
here. Let's stay focused. We were talking about like a girl who's slept with 30 dudes first date. Then you as the relationship guy come along and then she wants to make you wait 3 months. Kind of ridiculous. I know. I remember I think this must have been 6 months ago. I was on a date with a girl. She was in her 30s. She's probably. I didn't ask her body count, but let's just, probably 10, 20, 30 plus, whatever. She had told me, we were talking about past relationships. She said that the last guy she dated, she'd been dating him for 1 or 2 years. She was like, oh yeah, actually the way we met is I was staying at his Airbnb and then like I check in and then like literally the night I move in, like we fucked. I'm like, okay, cool. And then like, I was, it was whatever. We were on a date and, she was into me and then like we were hanging out, but she was like, oh no, I think I kind of want to like wait,
I think a lot of women,
and like, bro, it's like, look, that's your call, but like this, your last fucking relationship that was a long-term relationship, so it wasn't evidence of like, oh, it was just a one-night stand. And it's like, I'm gonna look at that, I'm gonna be like, I actually no longer want a relationship with a girl. Like I now, because you're playing a game, because it's not your genuine standard. It's just like I either think one of two things. I think like you're playing a game with me. You're using sex as leverage to secure
a relationship.
No, right. Resources, not even a relationship, just attention and resources.
Yeah. Relationship,
and you're using it as leverage, or I honestly, the thing that strikes me is you're just not that fucking into me because like, I want that, this is Rolo's thing, genuine burning desire. Shout out Rolo Tomasi by the Rational Male. Like, if all your previous relationships, like you had this one standard, if all your previous relationships, your standard was, okay, I'm gonna wait 4 dates. That's fair. I get that. But you just fucked a guy 2 weeks ago and now you want me to wait 2 months? Like, get the fuck out. Like, again, it's your call, but I'm like, I'm like, okay, she's either not into me or she's like basically playing a game. So then at that point, I've just lost interest.
What game do you think she's playing? Just curious.
She's using sex as leverage.
A lot of,
and like, I don't, because it's not a genuine standard of hers, because if 2 months ago you fucked a guy immediately, then it's not a genuine standard you have when it comes to your sexuality.
It's just for you.
Would you think differently if like she had like lived one way in her past, but like had it created a new standard for herself like going forward.
That's not what's going on in the situation though.
But that's not what's going on. Like
question.
if like for the past 5 years, like that's been her new standard. She had some fucking wild times in college. Even then, that's not ideal. Because as me and Mike were saying, and a couple other people were saying, like obviously body count matters, but strictly from a behavioral sense, yeah, not great. But it's more understandable if like she's changed. But
right.
Hey guys, by the way, everything we're saying it comes down to: do you find someone who accepts those things? You're right. If you say if a guy doesn't care that I had multiple bodies, that's fine. I'm just telling you, most high status men are not going to behave that way. They're not. It's just a function of statistics. That's it. You were saying something?
Oh, I think if I'm understanding correctly, it's less that you're saying that it's you're not judging somebody for sleeping with someone like on the first date or fourth date or whatever. It's just like, from man's standpoint, does it make sense?
Well, it's the fact that you're holding the standard to just him and not everybody else that you've had these.
Yeah, you had an epiphany, and now you've gotten right with God, and now you go to your yoga class, and your third chakra is open, and now you've decided you make men wait when all the other men didn't. That's fine if you believe that. I'm just not going to sit around and wait for that. That sounds ridiculous.
It kind of. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes the guy who you're making wait feel a little scammed. Like it's not like a genuine thing that, like a genuine standard that you actually have. I don't know. It's like you read some bullshit in the magazine. Oh, you should make guys wait. Oh, let me try it. And then like, I don't know. It's just kind of.
There's a lot of stuff out there that's saying you should make guys wait. Yeah, that's true.
It's easy for women to be messing around with non-quality guys for so long that when they do get a quality guy, it's like you say, they try to find any which way to hold on, and they don't actually have rational or real reasons, real ways to actually do that. They just make up ways in their head.
I slept with my boyfriend the first night, and he's a quality man.
So
same
type.
Yeah. Well, would you believe that girl that like that you were just mentioning, if she said that like she screwed that guy, but like she wanted you to wait because like she didn't want you to think like lesser of her, like she really like wanted to take it slow with you?
We should have that conversation. I can explain to her that's nonsense. Like, let's get that.
I'm actually curious.
Well, my personal view is, and there are certainly men out there who, if they will judge a woman if that woman sleeps with them too quickly. My personal view is, while that could potentially be an indicator of, for example, promiscuity, I don't think it's necessarily, like if a woman sleeps with you quickly, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's slept with a bunch of men or she's promiscuous.
So I have a question
me
for
personally,
you guys then.
Me personally, all of my long-term relationships, that many of them have been really wonderful relationships with great girls, almost all of them within the first 3 dates.
Okay. Yeah, I was
one
gonna
girl
ask
on the
that.
second date, one girl on the first date. Some guys are like, okay, if she gives it up too quick, then she's for the streets. That's not my view. That's not my view, but some guys do have that view.
I get confused as a woman sometimes, like really like grappling with this, because it's like you don't want to give it up too quickly because you don't want the guy to think that you're a hoe. But then if you really like the guy, like it's kind of like a what do I do? Like how is he gonna view me sort of thing? Yeah, well, which is what you were saying is like you're not being genuine to your standard. Sure. Like you're kind of like fixing it based off of like the dude.
And at least for me personally, like if I sleep with a girl, I have, and maybe I'm an outlier in this, I have no interest in sleeping with a girl once. To me, it's just a waste of time. Like if I sleep with a girl, I want there to be a continuity. Maybe we only hang out 3 or 4 times, but like I do genuinely want to at least try to pursue something. I'm not interested in one night stand. It's not worth my time. I view it as a waste of time. And also just, even if your motivation was purely sexual, or excuse me, even if your motivation was purely just to get sex, I actually think that first off, having the first time you have sex with someone, really, I personally don't think it's going to be the best.
Yeah.
I think sex is better at like the more times you've had sex with them. So one, just on a purely physical level, you know what they like, they know what you like. You build a comfort. So I think that makes the sex better. But me personally, I'm not interested in one night stands. I do if I sleep with a girl, I'd want to continue sleeping with her. And
so would you disavow like the fresh and fit idea of like recreational use versus like relationship use for a woman? You know what I mean?
Well, there's signs that you would see that would tell you this girl has red flags.
But one of those signs would be sleeping with somebody on the first date. No,
they just said that it's not considered.
Did they say that? I don't know. I've never said that.
I'm not sure. I don't want to speak on behalf of them because I I haven't been keeping tabs specifically on what their talking points are. What was the?
Basically, the idea is that it's a red flag if she sleeps with you on the first date. I mean, that's some guys' opinions.
So how would you go about?
I don't.
That's a good way to say too. Like, if you'd be trying to be a value woman, if you want to look out for what men are looking for.
Right.
I just know too many of my friends that are married couples, and they slept together on the first date. Like, I just know too many of them. There's just so much attraction, and they just did it. So like, I don't know what like the right answer is there. But I think the thing that we're saying is. By the way, if you can find someone to believe in whatever your standard is, then you can get away with anything you want, right? But in this case, if you consistently sleep with guys on the first date and then you make this last guy wait, the thing is, dudes know everything now. I'm sorry, ladies. Like, there's this digital footprint that you have. You think you're gonna get away with it? It's not that you can't keep a secret. It's that dudes run their fucking mouth about how many girls they've fucked, and they're gonna tell.
It just depends if you're honest or not. Like, I'm personally honest. Like, if someone was to ask me, like, what's up? Like, hey, what is your sexual history? I'd be like, it's this. You know, and then we all decide. We can decide together that. So it's like that would only happen, the like sneaking around or finding out, if the person's not honest, and then it just goes back to that person's character and who they are.
I don't understand. You guys are talking when you meet someone, and you're saying, okay, how many people in your past have you slept with on the first date?
Y'all still have that conversation?
Yeah, like I don't I would never talk to someone like that. I don't think.
No, but someone might find that out about you.
Yeah, but maybe one guy, you maybe find out one guy that you know, like a mutual friend that, oh yeah, you know, she slept with me on the first date, but you don't know.
I just see, because the advent of social media, I found like without even trying, I know what a bunch of girls have done, because dudes just run their fucking mouth.
Yeah, the world is really small too.
Dudes run their mouth, man. They run their mouth so much. If they know.
Yeah, just one last thing on this point, and then we do need to get to a couple of chats here. So if she's had sex with men more easily in the past, and you harder now, so she makes you wait, there's this and I kind of already touched on this, there's a natural gut reaction that the current guy or you is less sexually desirable to her than her previous partners. So if she had sex with them faster, she must, this may not be the case, but that's what a guy might think, that she's just not that attracted to you.
Yeah.
And she sees you as like provider, like safety net. And like, that's not how a guy wants to feel. So
men want to be desired.
Well, look, we use in my coaching program, we use the opposite. Like Brandon Carter, I did an interview with him, and he was like, he said he got stood up by a girl one time, and he asked himself, he goes, would she have stood Drake up? She wouldn't have stood Drake up. And then that made him go to the gym more. Oh, yeah. That made him make more money. Now the dude is just wearing like, $400,000 worth of watches on with his, his G-Wagon and his like, these dudes
don't get stood
super
up
ripped.
No more.
He doesn't get stood up no more. Exactly. So in his mind, he was like, would she have stood Drake up? That's what she said. He would say that in his head when he'd go to the gym. And so because of that, that motivated him. And now, the dude is like, he's a huge baller. And because of that. So I think you guys understand that jealousy motivation, it's a sexual motivation that Napoleon Hill talks about at the end of Think and Grow Rich. That thing, or in evolutionary psychology, and access to higher sexual selection and more resources, and higher sexual status, those things are what motivate a man to become a billionaire. That's what motivates a man to work really hard. That's essentially what happens. These great men, you think about Steve Jobs, the dude was running through supermodels. Think about Elon Musk. How many different women does he have kids with? You think about these things, like even Albert Einstein leaves his wife to go start sleeping with his cousin. Like all this stuff happens. And you just don't realize these men are so motivated by this, about would she, it goes back to what Brandon said, and I loved it. It was just like, dude, would she have stood Drake up? And the answer is no, then I need to be better.